If you're not making that a condition of entrance, you don't need a special entertainment permit. From what you're doing currently is according to what you've given us.
You could request an exemption.
Well,
Do you check IDs at the door?
No.
Okay, so what Mr. Caldwell and Mr. Wallamu are saying is that you don't have a special entertainment permit, and you might not get a special entertainment permit until the next period for applying will come, and that will be between August 15th and September 15th. And you can ask us to expedite it if you like. But if you don't have a special entertainment permit, you can still have entertainment if you get an exemption. Now, what an exemption is a statement to this board that you run a family-friendly restaurant and you want to have entertainment there for your patrons. So you're not going to make anybody pay for the entertainment, but the entertainment is going to be there for people who want to come into your restaurant.
excuse me, Mr. Chairman, the activities that were just described, I don't think meet the standard for any kind of entertainment. They're a DJ and music and a ball.
DJ is live entertainment. Any
Well, I thought you had just said that wasn't. Okay.
Unless it's not is it an employee that's playing the music, or is it an outside DJ?
It's an outside DJ.
Okay, well, you got to get rid of that.
well, they can have it with
No,
an
they can-
exemption.
yeah.
You can have a DJ with an exemption as long as you're not charging a cover charge, and as long as you're not patting down people at the door. So, if you're willing to apply for an exemption, then you can have a DJ, and you just have to run a family-friendly establishment, which means that you're not denying people access after a certain period of time, unless by your discretion you think that there's a bad apple and you approach the person as a bad apple and then ask them to leave.
Do you think, Chairman, that the exemption can be applied for immediately?
Yeah, we can turn your application into an application for an exemption.
Okay. And I think I need to discuss the option of exemption with him, because, and the reason why is this: the way things have been operating through the license, the permit period, have proven to be good for the business, or at least keep the business afloat. The problem is that if they change the DJ, if the DJ becomes in-house, or if the DJ
The
somehow.
DJ doesn't have to be in-house. You can get the DJ from wherever you
With
want.
exemption. But without exemption, it is my understanding that we don't need a permit at all.
That's what I was trying to get at. If you just have an employee be the DJ, play music, and run the ball doesn't have anything to do with what we're talking about. You don't have any entertainment as far as we're concerned.
Requirement, correct.
Yeah, but just as a matter of clarity, the employee can use the sound system to basically put on a track of music.
Yes, sir.
But even an employee can't act as an active DJ, like running karaoke, responding to people's requests for a specific song. I mean, you can have a sound system, and the employee can set up the sound system to run a track of music without his participation. If there's participation, then you have entertainment.
Chairman, if we were to consider the exemption as opposed to the reapplication process, how soon can we reapply if you accelerate the process?
Well, you have to wait until August 15th, but you can just ask us to immediately consider your application. But it won't be until August 15th.
I think, Mr. Chairman, he was asking about the exemption. How fast we can get an exemption.
Pardon me, Commissioner. I think that Mr. Chairman mentioned that we could ask the board to accelerate the consideration of the application instead of being August.
Which application?
For-
Both of them are
For a
applications.
special entertainment
Correct, for a
permit.
special-
Oh, okay.
Correct.
Right.
So if we were to, and the reason why is because there is a little bit of, I see a little bit of divergence in the comments, but if my clients were to elect to do the exemption, then we know what to do. But Chairman, you mentioned that we could apply to accelerate the.
That's after the application period opens
I
on
understand.
August
Oh, I
15th.
understand, I understand. Would there be anything the board could do in the meantime, shy of denying completely the permit at this point? Would, council mentioned
You
that
can
the-
get an exemption, and you can have entertainment, but you can't charge, and you can't pat down, and you can't check IDs at the door. But you can check IDs at the table. You can get rid of people who you feel may be a threat to the peace and safety of your establishment. And you can have a DJ, whether it's in-house or whether it's someone who's out of house but has a following. You can have a DJ, but you just can't charge a cover charge.
I understand, and I don't think there's a cover charge issue in any event, but would you need to have the answer tonight, or can we submit the exemption package tomorrow?
Well, if you wanted to get an answer tonight, you have to submit it tonight. If you want to get an answer the next time we meet, you can submit it tomorrow.
If we could we bifurcate this and let me have a moment to talk to my clients so that they can determine if they want to do that, or?
Sure. We're not going anywhere for a few minutes.
Thank you, Chairman, thank you.
Anybody have concerns?
Yes, Chairman.
When you were patting people down, were you checking to see if they were over 21 after 9 o'clock?
No.
Oh, okay.
Okay,
Thank you, Chairman.
thank you. Yes, sir.
Country Club at Woodmore?
Okay, but no, we're gonna wait until the end. They weren't here, so we're not,
Okay,
we're waiting until the end.
okay, Hazari Kapoor member, ARD now.
That's your rule, Mr. Caldwell.
If
If people aren't here on time, we
Go to the end of the line.
Exactly. Request for appointment of trustee for purposes of reopening and selling licensed establishment.
Excuse me.
An appeal is currently pending in the circuit court of Prince George's County.
What?
CAL 14-22337.
We had to, Ed said we had to give them a hearing. Did, Chief Finelli have something? Can I have one of those bottles of water? Did Chief Finelli have something he wanted to say? Thank you.
Yes, sir. Al Finelli, Chief Liquor Inspector. On behalf of CEDOS, Deputy Chief Mendoza and I were there on Saturday night, or it's actually Sunday morning, at about 12:30, 12:45. They had two police officers there, one marked car and one unmarked car. And they weren't carding, they weren't carding or stopping anybody at the door. And it seemed to be a pleasant crowd.
You're talking about the previous case?
Yes, sir.
Did they have a lot of people there?
They had probably.
I mean, for a Sunday?
Not many people,
Not many.
What,
40, 45
okay,
people.
all right, 40, 45. What were the police doing there?
They were parked out front, Riverdale.
Higher, okay. They were part of security?
I believe they were, and there
Okay.
was an unmarked car there
Okay.
as well. It seems like they had plenty of security.
Okay.
Okay. Okay. Thank you very much. Okay, Counselor?
Thank you, Chairman Jackson, members of the board, Timothy Maloney and Levy Zaslow. And we want to particularly thank the board for agreeing to hold this reconsideration hearing. Mr. Chairman, members of the board, we are the new lawyers for the Melly family. We were not involved for ADR Melly LLC. We were not involved in the previous proceedings. We have read the record of the previous proceedings. We've talked to your counsel about it. And I want to begin by apologizing to the board for whatever confusion preceded us and which should not have occurrred. The second thing I want to say to the board is that after meeting with us, ADR Melly has gotten the message loud and clear, and what they wish to do and they seek to do is to get out of the TikTok business altogether, to sell the property and to move on, and that is their plan. Right now, the status is that the revocation decision is on appeal in the Circuit Court for Prince George's County, and it won't be decided for some time, and it will be a very, as the board knows, a very lengthy appeal process. In the meantime, the TikTok business itself sits vacant. It is at one of the most prominent intersections in northern Prince George's County, as the board knows, at the intersection of University Boulevard and Riggs Road. And prior to the revocation, it was one of the more successful businesses in northern Prince George's County. According to the 2012 tax return, it grossed $7.6 million.
Well, that's one measure of success. That we beg to differ about whether it's successful or not.
Commissioner Caldwell, there's no question about it. And I want to make it very clear that we're not here to relitigate the past. And it's clear that Mrs. Melly made some mistakes, one of which she pled guilty for in the United States District Court. So we're not attempting to litigate the past. What they're attempting to do now is to move on. And it's more than Mrs. Melly. All the collected members of the family over the years have made an enormous financial investment into the TikTok, into the real estate and everything else. And what they are now looking to do is simply to sell the property.
That's kind of late, don't you think, Counselor?
Well, something has to happen now, because the alternative is that the property's vacant. It's sitting there, and if the appeal continues, it's likely to sit there at that prominent intersection to be vacant for the next several years while the appeal process continues. And to be very candid,
Well, that's, excuse me, Counselor, that doesn't have to happen. You guys don't have to appeal it.
well, we have to protect their property rights.
I see.
We would prefer not to appeal, and that's why we're here tonight. Our goal here is to stay the appeal, to stop the appeal, and to proceed and put our energies instead into selling the property.
But you see, if this had been addressed before there was
Let's hear what he has to say.
if I may, I'll continue until I'm finished here, Mr. Chairman.
Well, let's take a brief recess so we can consult with legal counsel. Can we go anywhere to consult?
I think there's a hallway out here.
Oh, yeah, where?
He wants to talk to you.
Hey, what's going on, man? Didn't expect to see you down here. What's been happening? My first appearance for this board in 20 years. I was asked to do something as a favor. Who are you here on there? Oh, that's a great place. How's where we're going? Good. Oh, it's fantastic. Yeah, it's one of the University of Maryland has been thinking about using this for a course. Yeah, they think it's one of the best courses in the state.
This session is back in session? No, that's not right. This hearing is back in session. I'm sorry, I just needed to check with council with regard to the rule and how to proceed, and I just wanted to make sure about it. I'm sorry, Mr. Caldwell, you were,
Okay. Thank you. All I was trying to get at, Counselor, is that basically, I feel like that this is way late. If all of this had been done a year ago, we'd be on better grounds. Anyway,
Mr. Caldwell, I fully understand that.
go ahead.
Thank you. And I appreciate the board, and frankly, I wish we were involved a year ago. But when we looked at your record, and we looked at your comments, we read the message from the board loud and clear. And all that we are seeking here to do is to have a trustee brought in for purposes of managing and selling the facility, and to do it within a period of 1 year. And of course, the sale would be subject to the approval of this board, as it is by law. The sale would be to an independent third party with no relationship. Their plan is to go out in the market and get the very best price that they can, with the very best and most responsible operator that they can. They'd be willing to entertain any conditions the board would impose on that. Ms. Melly understands she is to be nowhere on the premises whatsoever in terms of there as a condition. The trustee that is proposed is Mr. Amit Barrett. I want to tell you that we did a lengthy search along with the client to find someone who was independent, experienced, and had a good record as a licensee. I think some of the members of the board may know, Mr. Barrett, if you could stand. He has been for the last 10 and a half years the operational manager of the Lee's Restaurant, Bar, and Liquor Store in Hyattsville. I think the board knows Lee's reputation in the community and its long record. It was operating when I was a boy growing up in Hyattsville, and he's done an outstanding job. He understands that his role here is to be independent of the Melly family, to operate it in a responsible way, and most importantly, to go out and find the most responsible buyer who can meet the standards of Article 2B.
let me just interrupt you
Yes,
for a
sir.
second,
Thank
just
you.
for the board's information, because I don't know if you have Mr. Barrett's resume, but he worked at Lee's from 2004 to present, Club One in Baltimore from 2005 to 2011, Golden Bull from 2002 through 2004, Langways, which is now Big Daddy's, from 1999 to 2002. Okay, all right, you may continue, Mr.
Thank you. He's also received a number of community awards, which are outlined in here, as well as his educational background. I think the board would find him to be an extremely responsible trustee. I think he understands that he has two missions. One, if the board were to permit this, to make sure that there is a responsible, compliant, community-sensitive operation, and secondly, to sell it to the most responsible operator so that this landmark Prince George's County property can operate the way it is supposed to operate. And that would be his mission here if this would be permitted. And he's here to answer any questions necessary.
Okay, Mr. Caldwell, do you have any questions?
No further.
Mr. Howard?
No questions.
Mr. Nwalamu?
No question.
Okay. So is there anything else you'd like to present, or do you want to have Mr. Barrett speak?
Briefly, if I could ask Mr. Zaslow just to question Mr. Barrett a little bit, and
Okay.
have him respond to questions from the board.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman, I thank you
You're welcome.
very much.
Mr. Barrett, can you raise your right hand, please? Do you hereby swear or aver under the penalty of perjury that the testimony you're about to give in this matter is the truth, whole truth, nothing but the truth?
Yes, I do.
Thank you.
All right, thank you, Mr. Barrett. Mr. Barrett, please tell the board just a little bit about your background. Mr. Maloney touched on it but briefly, but give them a little bit more insight into who you are.
Okay, my name is Amit Bharat, and I live in Greenbelt, Maryland. I've been living in Prince George's County since last 15 years, and I've been doing retail sales and service operations since last 15 years. Most of my education is back in India. I'm a master's in commerce, and I've been pretty successful in my liquor industry career.
All right, and that experience includes the Lee's Restaurant in Hyattsville?
Yes.
I tell the board about your experience in Lee's Restaurant in Hyattsville.
My experience is I've experienced all aspects of liquor industry, which includes purchasing, maintaining, expanding inventory, scheduling, payrolls, training employees for better customer service. So I've done it all.
Right, and does that include supervisory responsibilities?
Yes, it does.
All right, tell the court about the supervisory responsibilities.
Supervisory responsibilities include doing their payrolls, training employees, checking every aspect of the industry, of maintaining a liquor store and restaurant.
Now, Mr. Barrett, obviously you're familiar with the Melli family and Ritponjit, who's the owner.
I know them from the community gatherings. I've met them in temples, and they are a well-known face in the community.
All right. Are you related to them in any way?
I'm not related to them.
Are you under their supervision or control in any way, shape, or form?
Not at all.
Have you ever been under their supervision?
No, sir. Never.
Golden Bull was not theirs?
No, I was working for Simarjeet Kaur and PK. They used to run Golden Bull. That's in 2002, 2004.
Okay. And Mr. Barrett, you've reviewed the trustee agreement, which was Exhibit 1 to our motion. Have you reviewed that?
Yes, I've reviewed the agreement.
And does the board have copies of the proposed agreement? I have copies if the board would like additional copies.
I don't have. Do you have a copy of it?
It's here.
Do you have a copy yet?
Yes. May I approach?
Yes. Okay. Wait, he has one, that's all we need. Thank you.
And Mr. Barrett, Exhibit 1 to our motion, the trustee agreement, was that the agreement that you reviewed?
Yes.
And you understand that the agreement, are you willing to enter into that agreement?
Yes.
And you understand that under the agreement, assuming the board approves, you will be appointed trustee of TikTok. Do you understand that?
Yes.
And you understand that you will be using your best efforts to market and sell TikTok?
Yes, I do.
And you understand that you have singular authority to sell the business to TikTok?
Yes.
And you also understand that you have the sole authority to sell TikTok to potential buyers?
Yes.
And you understand the license will be transferred to you?
Yes.
Well, as trustee?
Yes.
And you understand that Mrs. Melli has agreed to neither work at nor enter the TikTok premises at all. You understand that?
Yes, I understand.
And you're willing to ensure compliance with that?
Yes.
And you also understand that no one can interfere with your running of the TikTok business. You understand that as well?
Yes.
And you understand that you have sole and exclusive authority to manage TikTok during the times that we are reopening to sell and market TikTok.
Yes.
And with all that understood, are you willing to comply with the terms of the agreement?
Yes, I do.
Unless the board has any further questions of Mr. Barrett.
A few questions. Mr. Caldwell?
What's your position at Lee's? I didn't get
I'm
that.
operational manager at least.
You're the what?
I'm a manager.
What kind of manager?
Operational managers, I'm running the
Operations
operations.
manager.
Yes.
Okay, so you're not the general manager?
I'm not the general manager.
Okay. No further, thank you.
Okay, Mr.
No questions.
And Mr. Mwalimu?
Will you be running the restaurant?
No, I'm gonna be concentrating fully on TikTok if the board gives the permission to run it.
You'll be focusing solely on being a trustee for the sale of TikTok?
Yes.
Only?
Yes.
Thank you.
I'm not sure that y'all communicated. Are you going to be running TikTok?
Yes.
You're going to be the manager of TikTok?
Yes.
And running the restaurant and the liquor store?
Yes, yes.
Okay.
What is your relationship with the Malhais?
I don't have any relation with them. I just know them.
You know them?
From community gatherings, like I said, and I've met them and talked to them at temples.
Well, how'd you happen to get hired?
Huh?
How did you happen to get hired?
For this trustee agreement?
Yeah,
Somebody must have given good recommendation about me.
I see.
I've been doing this for 15 years. They know me from gatherings too. So.
Have there been any concerns expressed to you about the way Lee's has been run?
Not really.
Is that a yes or no?
No.
You never had any concerns expressed? No
By-
complaints?
By concerns expressed by?
By anyone?
No.
Golden Bull, who did you say you worked for at Golden Bull?
I was working for Simarjeet Kaur and PK
Okay.
Gupta.
And did they sell Golden Bull?
I have no idea if they sold. I worked there for them 2002, 2004.
Okay, because the reason why I asked, because Golden Bull is involved with Malhi, and their license was also revoked, and there was some connection established by the comptroller office between TikTok and Golden Bull.
Okay. I was already addressing to PK Gupta and Simarjeet Kaur, so I don't happen to see Mrs. Mali there.
Right. And I think one of the reports from, well, never mind. Never mind, okay. You have anything else, Councilor?
Just one final issue. And Mr. Barrett, do you have any experience in real estate?
I've done a real estate course just for my personal education. I've done 60 hours of real estate education.
Thank you.
Okay. Do you have anything else you'd like to present, Councilor?
No, and I thank the chairman and the members of the board.
Okay, thank you. Is there a motion in this matter?
Move we deny this.
Deny the request for reconsideration?
Yes.
Is there a second?
Second.
It's been properly moved and seconded. Any discussion?
Yeah, I just want to say I think let it go through the courts now. Let the court decide.
I think that's the best approach at this point in time. We've litigated this issue, or the issue has been litigated before the board. As Mr. Maloney said, he didn't want to relitigate the issue tonight. He recognized that there were problems in the past, and he recognized that there were issues that the board addressed under its power. And it doesn't seem like there's anything new that we've heard here tonight that would indicate that we should open up this issue for relitigation. And pretty much, they've sued us, and we're in court now, so it's best to let the process play itself out. I see absolutely no reason to intervene in that process. Is there any further discussion?
I concur in all that. I've made my feelings pretty clear both tonight and when we originally revoked the license. And I frankly don't see any any big change here. I'm sure this is a fine young man, but he has been working for the Malhi family, it seems to me, before, and I can't imagine that he would be an independent arbiter here. This is all a piece of the pattern that the Malhis have been involved with straw purchases and their anyway. But
Any further discussion?
Yeah, I don't see a license that they could operate under this agreement. If the license was revoked, would we actually open what kind of license would we give them?
I think they want us to undo the revocation, so that's a whole lot to do, and I don't think there's been any information presented here tonight other than it will cost the Malhis a great deal of money if we don't undo the revocation. I don't know about this particular gentleman, whether or not he's worked with the Malhis or not, and it really doesn't make any difference. And I don't know how he got recommended to the Malhi, and it really doesn't make any difference. Because it's not about this gentleman, but it is about having a reason to reopen and relitigate this thing tonight. And there's just no reason, in my opinion, to reopen and relitigate it. And as Mr. Howard said and Mr. Caldwell said, let the courts decide it. At this point, that's where it's best placed. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of the motion?